They say time heals all wounds, but for millions of people around the world, time does the opposite. It reminds them, every morning, with a dull ache, a stiffness that lingers, a whisper of pain in the knees, fingers, or spine. This is arthritis, but not just a disease of old age. It's a story written deep within our biology, an invisible struggle between healing and inflammation, between renewal and decay. Today, we're going to uncover what's really happening beneath your skin, why your joints hurt, why inflammation refuses to calm down, and how the foods you eat may be quietly deciding whether you live in pain or freedom. Let's begin with a simple question. What makes up a joint? Inside every joint is a delicate architecture: cartilage, synovial fluid, connective tissue. But the unsung hero of it all is the chondrocyte, a specialized cell that crafts and maintains the cartilage, the smooth cushion that lets your bones glide effortlessly. Think of it like the shock absorber in a high-performance car. When new, it's supple and strong. But as time passes, through injuries, poor nutrition, or chronic inflammation, that cartilage starts to wear thin. The chondrocyte becomes overwhelmed, stressed, and eventually silent. Scientists once believed arthritis was simply wear and tear. But modern research tells a deeper story, one about cellular stress. Hidden inside these joint cells lies a small but powerful factory known as the endoplasmic reticulum. This microscopic structure folds proteins, shapes them into the tools of life. It's like a craftsman's workshop, constantly molding, repairing, and rebuilding. But when this cellular factory becomes overloaded by toxins, poor diet, or inflammation, it begins to misfold those proteins. Imagine an assembly line where the workers are overworked, tools are breaking, and the machines are overheating. Chaos follows. The result? Pain, stiffness, and inflammation that can haunt someone for years. And so begins the story of arthritis, not just a mechanical problem, but a biological drama that unfolds cell by cell. You see, inside this chaos, there's a clue. A point of origin for the cascade of inflammation that may begin even before the mitochondria, the cell's energy engines, are damaged. Scientists call it ER stress, short for endoplasmic reticulum stress. It's one of the earliest signals that the joint's internal balance has been lost. This discovery changed everything. It means that arthritis isn't only about cartilage wearing out. It's about communication failure inside the cells themselves. And if that's true, then healing the joints might begin not with painkillers or surgery, but by restoring balance deep within the cell's own machinery. For years, I wondered, what if we could calm that storm inside the chondrocyte? What if we could relieve the stress that starts this whole inflammatory chain reaction? That question led to a discovery, one that connects your gut, your liver, and your joints in ways few ever imagined. It's time to journey deeper into the cell and into the mysterious world of bile salts, microbes, and the silent signals that decide whether your body inflames or heals. Picture this. Inside every one of your cells is a vast industrial landscape: conveyor belts, furnaces, engineers, and inspectors. The air hums with microscopic life as amino acids are folded and molded into precise shapes. These shapes become enzymes, hormones, and connective tissue, the architecture of your existence. At the heart of this landscape stands the endoplasmic reticulum, or ER. It's not just another cellular organelle. It's the nerve center of protein craftsmanship. Imagine it as a meticulous origami master, folding sheets of protein into complex, life-sustaining designs. Each fold must be perfect. Each shape determines how well a cell, and therefore your body, functions. But what happens when stress invades this quiet factory? When the body faces constant inflammation, poor nutrition, or toxic exposure, the ER begins to falter. Misfolded proteins start to pile up like crumpled blueprints on a factory floor. The quality control system sounds the alarm. This is ER stress, the cellular equivalent of panic. And that panic doesn't stay inside the cell. It spreads, igniting inflammatory messengers throughout the body. Over time, that microscopic chaos turns into macroscopic pain. The stiffness in your knees, the ache in your hands, the soreness after every step. What's haunting about this process is that it often begins years before symptoms arise. By the time you feel pain, the factory has been struggling for a long time. It's as if the silent machinery of your life has been quietly burning out, one joint at a time. But there's more. The ER isn't only a protein workshop. It's also a calcium vault, storing this essential mineral for countless reactions. When ER stress rises, calcium spills into places it shouldn't go. And that's when soft tissues, like cartilage, begin to calcify. Those once smooth surfaces harden, joints grind, movement becomes friction. It's a tragic transformation, from fluid motion to mechanical grinding, and it all begins with a tiny disruption at the cellular level. Now imagine this chain of events like dominoes. ER stress triggers inflammation. Inflammation damages mitochondria. Damaged mitochondria leak energy and signals that summon even more inflammation. And the cycle continues, pain feeding pain, cell feeding decay. For decades, doctors treated arthritis as a problem of the bones. But now, scientists understand it's far more profound. It's a problem of energy, communication, and stress within the smallest units of life. Here's where things get fascinating. Amid this cellular storm, researchers discovered something unexpected inside chondrocytes, receptors for bile salts. Bile salts? The same fluid that helps digest fats in your intestines? What could those possibly be doing in your joints? That question would lead scientists into one of the most surprising discoveries in modern medicine. A bridge between your gut and your joints, between digestion and movement, between the food you eat and the pain you feel. A bridge called the gut-joint axis, and at the center of it all are your microbes. Deep within the labyrinth of your intestines, an ancient alliance operates quietly. Billions of microbes working in concert with your liver to create one of the most underestimated healing agents in the human body. Bile salts. Most people think bile exists only to break down fat, a bitter greenish fluid stored in the gallbladder, released after meals. But that's only part of the story. In truth, bile is a biological messenger, a chemical diplomat between your gut, your liver, and even your joints. Here's the twist. Your liver produces what's known as primary bile. But once that bile reaches your gut, your microbes, the invisible engineers of your biology, modify it into secondary bile salts. And these secondary bile salts don't just aid digestion. They act as potent anti-inflammatory agents, traveling through your bloodstream to distant tissues, including your joints. Now, pause and think about that. The microscopic community inside your gut is literally crafting molecules that reduce inflammation in your knees, your fingers, your spine. This is the gut-joint axis, a scientific revelation that redefines what it means to heal from the inside out. But here's where it gets even more astonishing. When researchers examined chondrocytes, those cartilage-producing cells, they found receptors designed specifically to receive bile salts. In other words, your joints are listening to your gut. The microbes in your intestines and the cells cushioning your bones are in constant biochemical dialogue. It's as if your gut sends messages to your joints, saying, "All is well, stay calm, keep repairing." But when this connection breaks, when the gut is inflamed, the microbiome disrupted, or the bile depleted, that soothing voice goes silent. And in its absence, inflammation takes command. For many people, the breakdown of this communication begins subtly. A course of antibiotics, a gallbladder removal, a diet stripped of healthy fats. Each of these can reduce bile flow and disturb the microbial balance, silencing that anti-inflammatory signal. The result? The slow return of pain. But there is one compound, a specialized bile salt, that has captured the attention of scientists for its extraordinary power to restore balance. It's called TUDCA, short for tauroursodeoxycholic acid. Originally derived from bear bile in ancient Chinese medicine, it's now produced synthetically. And modern research reveals it does something incredible. TUDCA reduces endoplasmic reticulum stress, the very stress that starts the inflammatory cascade in joint cells. Imagine that. A molecule born in the gut that can calm the storm inside your cells. It's a biological symphony of feedback and repair, orchestrated by bile, microbes, and cellular intelligence honed over millions of years of evolution. And yet, it's fragile. When your diet lacks healthy fats, or when you live in chronic stress, or bombard your system with processed foods and toxins, that ancient harmony breaks. The bile stops flowing, the microbes lose balance, and the silent war of inflammation resumes. But this connection between bile and inflammation, between gut and joint, opens a new frontier of healing. It means arthritis isn't just a local problem. It's a systemic signal, a message from the gut microbiome asking for restoration. In the next chapter, we'll explore what happens when the immune system, that vigilant guardian, turns against its own body, mistaking friend for foe. It's a story of confusion, imbalance, and ultimately, redemption. Because even in the heart of autoimmunity, there lies a way back to peace, through light, nutrients, and the wisdom of the body itself. There's a saying in medicine: the immune system is both your sword and your shadow. It protects you until it doesn't. In autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, that sword turns inward. The body, in its confusion, begins attacking its own joints, as if mistaking home for the enemy. Inside this war zone, inflammation becomes relentless. The immune cells that once guarded your body are now laying siege to it. The joints swell, the cartilage erodes, and the pain feels endless. But this isn't chaos without reason. It's miscommunication at the deepest biological level. You see, the immune system isn't just chemistry. It's consciousness expressed in biology. It responds to your environment, your emotions, even your light exposure. And one of the greatest modulators of that system is vitamin D. This isn't just the sunshine vitamin. It's more like a molecular switch that tells your immune system when to attack and when to stand down. Vitamin D receptors exist on nearly every immune cell, acting as the generals of your body's defense army. But here's the problem. Most people are chronically deficient. Without enough vitamin D, your immune system loses its sense of direction. It can't distinguish friend from foe, and in that confusion, it begins to destroy its own tissues. History gives us clues. A century ago, before modern supplements, physicians treated tuberculosis and arthritis patients by placing them under the sun for hours each day. Entire sun sanatoriums were built across Europe, not out of superstition, but because doctors witnessed something remarkable. The warmth of sunlight brought relief, strength, and healing. Today, science explains why. The UV rays that touch your skin trigger a chain reaction that converts cholesterol into vitamin D3, a compound that calms inflammation, balances calcium, and strengthens immunity. But in modern life, shielded indoors, slathered in sunscreens under artificial lights, that ancient healing signal is fading. For arthritis sufferers, restoring vitamin D can be transformative, but not in small amounts. To create a therapeutic effect, research suggests higher doses, often in the range of 20,000 to 40,000 IU daily under medical supervision, can help rebalance immune function. And vitamin D doesn't work alone. It forms a sacred triad with magnesium and vitamin K2, together ensuring calcium goes into the bones, not into the arteries or joints. It's a dance of minerals and light. Vitamin D acts like sunlight for your cells. Magnesium, the conductor, activates it, and K2, the gatekeeper, decides where calcium will settle. When these are in harmony, inflammation quiets. The immune army stands down. The joint pain softens. But beyond biology, there's a metaphor here. A reflection of how self-directed anger, stress, and guilt can inflame the psyche, just as misdirected immune attacks inflame the body. Healing, in this sense, is not just chemical, it's emotional. To forgive the self is to teach the body peace again. Vitamin D is more than a nutrient. It's a reminder of our ancient bond with the sun, the original healer, the silent architect of life. To bathe in its light, to nourish your cells with its message, is to remind your body who it truly is. Not a battlefield, but a garden waiting to be restored. And yet even the strongest immune balance can be undone by what we eat. Because every bite we take either fuels the fire of inflammations or extinguishes it. In the next chapter, we descend into the modern kitchen to expose the 7 hidden food triggers that silently sabotage your joints and ignite inflammation from within. Every meal you eat is more than just flavor and calories. It's communication. Your food speaks to your genes, your hormones, your immune cells. It tells your body whether to heal or to harm. But in the modern world, much of what we call food has become something else. Engineered, processed, stripped of life. And for people living with arthritis, these everyday ingredients can quietly amplify inflammation until pain becomes a daily language of its own. Let's uncover the 7 most inflammatory culprits, the hidden saboteurs that live inside your pantry, your protein bars, your condiments, and even your comfort foods. The first villain is emulsifiers. They hide in creamy dressings, sauces, frozen desserts, even plant-based milks. Their job is to make things look smooth and unified, to keep oil and water from separating. But inside your body, they act like wrecking balls. Emulsifiers such as polysorbate 80 and carboxymethylcellulose disrupt the gut microbiome, the same ecosystem that produces your precious anti-inflammatory bile salts. Think of your gut as a rainforest of life, diverse, vibrant, self-regulating. Emulsifiers are like acid rain, eroding its balance, allowing inflammation to bloom. The gut-joint axis falters, and your knees begin to ache for reasons no scan can fully explain. The second trigger, low-fat soy protein isolates. In the pursuit of healthy eating, many turn to plant-based protein powders and bars. But these industrial isolates are stripped of the very fats your liver needs to produce bile. Without taurine, an amino acid found mainly in animal protein, bile flow slows, digestion weakens, and joint inflammation quietly rises. To make matters worse, residues of hexane, a chemical solvent used in soy processing, sometimes linger behind, invisible but toxic. What was marketed as health becomes a subtle poison to your joints. Number 3. Refined seed oils, the invisible inflammation fuel. Oils like soybean, canola, and corn are often heated and reheated to 500 degrees during processing, creating aldehydes, toxic byproducts that scar cells and trigger oxidative stress. They embed into your cell membranes like rust in metal, stiffening your joints from the inside out. Ironically, some studies praise seed oils for improving heart health, but those studies use cold-pressed, unheated versions, not the industrial oils used in fast food fryers or packaged snacks. In real life, most people are consuming rancid oils that ignite joint pain, not heal it. The 4th, alcohol, especially beer. Beer is rich in purines, compounds that break down into uric acid, the very substance that crystallizes in the joints of people with gout. Add sugar, add liver stress, and you have the perfect recipe for systemic inflammation. Even wine and hard liquor, once thought cleaner, disrupt liver detoxification. And when the liver falters, inflammation surges everywhere. The 5th trigger hides in your dairy aisle: casein A1 protein. Most conventional milk and cheese, especially from grain-fed cows, contain this variant of casein, which can act like a foreign invader to your immune system. It irritates the gut lining, triggers inflammation, and worsens joint pain. In contrast, A2 dairy, found in goat, sheep, and certain heritage cow breeds, is far less inflammatory. Ancient milk nourished, modern milk inflames. Number 6. Modern wheat. Today's wheat is a far cry from its ancestral form. Genetically modified through decades of crossbreeding, it now contains higher levels of amylopectin A, a starch that spikes blood sugar faster than table sugar itself. It's also sprayed with glyphosate, a toxic herbicide that disrupts gut bacteria, damages the intestinal barrier, and sets the stage for autoimmune reactions. Inside your joints, this manifests as swelling, stiffness, and pain that seem to have no single cause. And finally, number 7. High fructose corn syrup. It's not sugar. It's a lab-born sweetener that floods the liver, creating insulin resistance and inflammation. Unlike natural sugar, it bypasses the body's satiety signals, meaning you can consume massive amounts without ever feeling full. Your liver becomes overloaded, bile production weakens, and joint inflammation follows like a shadow. 7 foods. 7 small daily choices that can either sustain your body or silently sabotage it. Each one interferes with the same story we've been tracing: the microbiome, the bile flow, the ER stress, the cascade of inflammation. But here's the good news. If food can harm, it can also heal. The same kitchen that houses inflammation can become the temple of recovery if you know what to feed your cells, your microbes, and your mind. In the next chapter, we'll step into nature's pharmacy, a place where fermented foods, healthy fats, and sunlight-powered nutrients work together like a symphony to reverse inflammation and rebuild life from within. The body does not heal through punishment. It heals through nourishment. Every cell, every joint, every heartbeat is a living conversation between what you feed it and what it becomes. Food is not passive. It is instruction. And when the body aches, it's not betrayal. It's a message asking you to listen, to feed it differently. Let's step into nature's pharmacy, where every bite carries intelligence far greater than any lab-made pill. The first healers are fermented foods, the living cultures of ancient wisdom. Sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, and Bulgarian yogurt. These are not just condiments. They are ecosystems. They rebuild the microbiome, restoring the very microbes that create secondary bile salts, the molecules that soothe inflammation in your joints. Think of each spoonful as reseeding the garden of your gut, where peace begins. Next come the healthy fats: olive oil, avocado oil, cold-pressed fish oils, and the golden fats from grass-fed animals. For decades, fat was demonized. We were told to fear it, to strip it from our diets. But the truth? Fat is the body's most sacred fuel. It's the building block for hormones, the protector of cells, the foundation of bile production. Without it, your joints starve of lubrication and your body starves of resilience. Each drop of natural fat whispers to your body, "Flow again." Then there's the light itself. Vitamin D3, nature's anti-inflammatory code. You'll find it in wild salmon, cod liver oil, and egg yolks, but its purest source still shines from above. Sunlight activates the same pathways as some of the most potent anti-inflammatory drugs, yet without side effects. It reawakens the immune intelligence dulled by modern living. To truly reverse inflammation, your vitamin D blood level should not merely meet the minimum. It must rise to the therapeutic range, 60, 70, even 80 ml, under professional guidance. At that level, the body remembers how to repair itself. But D3 never works alone. Its allies, vitamin K2, magnesium, and zinc, ensure harmony. K2 tells calcium where to go, into your bones, not your arteries. Magnesium activates over 300 enzymes, including the one that converts vitamin D into its active form. Zinc supports the immune balance, guarding against chronic inflammation. Together, they form the molecular quartet of joint protection. Now imagine pairing these with omega-3 fatty acids, found in fatty fish and cod liver oil. Omega-3s transform the membrane of your cells, making them flexible, fluid, alive. They replace the stiffness created by seed oils and restore the supple rhythm of movement. And then, there are the sulfur-rich foods: garlic, onions, and cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and kale. Sulfur is the element of flexibility. It's what gives collagen its bounce, cartilage its strength, and skin its glow. It's the scent of healing, hidden in the breath of plants. But perhaps one of the most forgotten heroes of joint health is collagen itself. Modern diets, obsessed with lean meat, have forgotten the slow-cooked broths, the tendons, the skin, the parts of the animal rich in collagen. Our ancestors consumed the whole creature, balancing muscle with marrow. That's why their joints lasted longer, even under hard labor. Today, most of our protein lacks collagen, only 2 to 5% in a typical steak. Yet your body's total protein is about 30% collagen. The math alone tells the story. We are undernourished at the structural level. So, whether through bone broth, grass-fed gelatin, or collagen-rich cuts, this nutrient replenishes the scaffolding of your body, one molecule at a time. And here's something often overlooked: iron. Too much iron rusts the system from within. It accelerates oxidative stress and joint inflammation. Cooking in cast iron pans, taking unnecessary supplements, even these small habits can overload the body's iron stores. For men and postmenopausal women especially, reducing excess iron can relieve the silent inflammation that ages the joints. Finally, there's TUDCA, that extraordinary bile salt we met earlier. It not only calms the endoplasmic reticulum, the cell's protein-folding factory, but also shields the cartilage, lowers inflammation, and restores mitochondrial balance. In essence, it helps the body remember how to repair itself, naturally, intelligently. Each of these foods, each nutrient, each molecule, carries an ancient memory, the blueprint of healing that modern life has tried to erase. When you begin eating this way, not to diet, but to rebuild, the body listens. The fog clears. The pain subsides. The joints begin to remember movement without fear. In the final chapter, we'll explore the deeper patterns, the rust within, the microbial echoes of our past, and how healing is not merely physical, but profoundly emotional. Because to move freely again is not just the recovery of the body, it is the return of the soul to motion. Every joint holds memory, not just of movement, but of every injury, every inflammation, every emotional storm that's ever passed through you. The body remembers what the mind forgets. And in the story of arthritis, those memories can calcify into pain. We've talked about inflammation, bile, and the gut. But there are deeper players, hidden saboteurs that operate silently in the background. One of them is iron, the mineral that built civilizations, and in excess can quietly destroy the body from within. Iron is both life and corrosion. It's the oxygen carrier in your blood, and the rust in your joints when balance is lost. When too much accumulates, it sparks oxidative reactions, creating what scientists call free radicals. These rogue molecules damage cartilage, inflame tissues, and accelerate aging at the cellular level. Imagine the hinges of an ancient gate left to the rain. Over time, the metal thickens with rust. Motion becomes creak and strain. That's what excess iron does to the human body. And because the body has no natural pathway to expel it easily, iron builds up with age, especially in men and post-menopausal women. Cooking in cast iron pans, taking unnecessary supplements, even drinking well water high in minerals, all can tip the scale from balance to inflammation. The lesson? Sometimes less is healing, but iron isn't the only hidden threat. Another comes from deep within, in the dark spaces between teeth and bone. For decades, medicine overlooked the connection between oral health and systemic inflammation. Yet now, science confirms what ancient healers suspected. Infections in the mouth can echo throughout the body. Root canals, old dental infections, gum disease, all can harbor microbes that slip into the bloodstream, travel through the lymphatic system, and settle into the joints. There, shielded by calcium deposits, they hide inside microscopic biofilms, slimy fortresses that the immune system can't easily penetrate. This is why some people do everything right. They eat clean, they supplement, they move, yet still feel that stubborn, haunting ache in their joints. The body isn't broken. It's defending itself against an unseen intruder. But there's another layer to this story, one far more subtle, yet profoundly human. It's the role of memory, emotion, and stress. Chronic inflammation isn't only a chemical process, it's also a reflection of psychological tension that has nowhere to go. When anger, grief, or resentment remain unprocessed, the body stores them, sometimes in the muscles, sometimes in the joints. The same cortisol that helps you survive stress also suppresses your immune balance, weakens the gut barrier, and fuels inflammation. In that sense, arthritis is more than a condition. It's a dialogue between the body and the self. The stiffness of the joints mirrors the stiffness of the mind. Healing, therefore, isn't just about removing the wrong foods. It's about releasing what's been held too tightly for too long. The ancient Greeks had a word for this, metanoia, meaning a change of mind. In biology, we might call it regeneration, The same principle applies. The moment you change the internal environment, whether mental or microbial, the body begins to rewrite its own story. And perhaps that's the most poetic truth of all. Your body doesn't age out of cruelty. It ages out of adaptation. Every scar, every ache, every stiffness is a coded message, a reminder to return to balance, to flow, to nourishment, to forgiveness. In the final part, we'll bring it all together, the science, the philosophy, and the hope, into a single idea: that movement, health, and vitality are not things we lose with time, but states we can reclaim through awareness, light, and living alignment with nature's design. If you listen closely, beneath the noise of pain, there is something quieter waiting. A rhythm, a pulse, a promise. It's the whisper of your body remembering what it was made for. Motion. We've journeyed through the microscopic factories of your cells, walked the corridors of bile and microbiomes, crossed the battlefield of immune confusion, and uncovered the hidden saboteurs of inflammation. But now, the story turns. From breakdown to rebuilding, from survival to renewal. Because the truth is this: your body is not at war with you. It is on your side, always. Every flare-up, every ache, every wave of stiffness, they are not punishments, but signals. They are your body's way of saying, I need balance, I need light, I need care. Arthritis is not just about cartilage loss. It's about communication loss, between the gut and the joints, between cells and systems, between you and yourself. Healing, then, is a reawakening of dialogue. When you restore that communication, through food, through sun, through stillness and movement, the body responds. Think of your biology as an orchestra. Your liver is the percussion, setting rhythm through bile flow. Your microbes are the strings, harmonizing digestion and immunity. Your vitamins and minerals, D3, K2, magnesium, zinc, are the brass and woodwinds, creating balance and tone. And your thoughts, your breath, your emotions, they are the conductor. When one section falls out of tune, dissonance arises. But when each instrument plays in harmony, the result is music. The music of vitality, of motion, of life moving through you instead of against you. This is not just metaphor. Studies now show that gut restoration can reduce systemic inflammation, that vitamin D and bile acids regulate immune pathways, that mindfulness lowers the very cytokines that fuel arthritis. Science and spirit are finally speaking the same language. Connection heals. Healing begins when you stop fighting your body and start listening to it. When you stop silencing symptoms and start decoding them. When you eat foods that carry life, fermented, whole, mineral-rich, instead of those that carry confusion. When you step into the sunlight, not in fear of aging, but in celebration of it. And as the body begins to remember motion again, something profound happens. The mind follows. Movement becomes not just physical therapy, but emotional liberation. The simple act of walking, stretching, or breathing deeply becomes a ritual of renewal. So if your joints ache, if your body feels heavy with the years, remember this: aging is not decay. It's transformation. And transformation requires listening, slowing down, and nourishing what time has only tried to protect. The gut, the bile, the immune system, the sunlight, the mind, they are not separate stories. They are chapters of one great narrative, the human capacity to heal. And when you honor that, when you treat your body not as a machine to be fixed, but as a symphony to be tuned, you rediscover something miraculous, that motion, vitality, and joy were never lost. They were only waiting, quietly, for you to return.